The morning of October 23, 2023, dawned cold and misty over the Hudson River in New York City, a place where joggers usually found peace along the waterfront, their breaths visible in the crisp air as they moved to the rhythm of their morning runs, unaware that this day would etch itself into the city's memory with a chilling discovery that would unravel a tale of love, betrayal, and a darkness no one saw coming. It all began when one of those joggers, perhaps a regular named Sarah who loved the early quiet, spotted something unusual bobbing in the water near Pier 84. Her curiosity pulling her closer until she realized it wasn't just debris, but half a human body wrapped in luxurious silk that shimmered faintly in the weak sunlight, the fabric clinging to what remained of a person. And on the wrist, a dazzling diamond tennis bracelet caught the first rays, a stark contrast to the grim scene, signaling that this was no ordinary crime, but the start of a mystery that would grip the nation. That bracelet belonged to Immani Roswell, a woman whose name would soon be on everyone's lips, a 27-year-old beauty with dreams as big as the world, who 2 months earlier had walked away from her struggling husband, David, for a billionaire Sheikh from Dubai, believing she was trading poverty for paradise, only to find that her choice had led to a fate no one could have predicted. The jogger's screams alerted the police, and soon the NYPD Marine unit was on the scene, their trained eyes noting the silk and the bracelet, clues that hinted at a story of wealth and violence, while the city woke up to headlines that would dominate the news for weeks, asking who could commit such a heinous act, and why, with the air filled with speculation about love turned sour or greed gone mad. David Roswell, the man left behind, was a quiet tech worker from Ohio, a man who had given his all for Immani, meeting her at Columbia University where her intelligence and ambition had first dazzled him over a bad cup of coffee in the campus cafeteria, their conversations stretching into late-night dinners at cheap diners near the school, where he fell hard for her sophistication, her fluency in 3 languages, and her dreams of working with the United Nations, seeing in her a chance to be part of something greater than his middle-class roots. Their love grew from study sessions to a proposal in the library stacks, a modest ring symbolizing his commitment, though a flicker of hesitation in her eyes went unnoticed, a sign of dreams that stretched beyond him. And as they married, he worked overtime, took on debt, and saved every dollar to support her education, believing they were building a future together. But after her graduation in 2021, the cracks began to show, her diploma hanging next to his community college certificate, like a silent reminder of their different paths. Her job search failing amid the pandemic's freeze on opportunities, while David's salary struggled to cover their rent and loans, turning their small apartment into a pressure cooker of unspoken tensions. Immani's elaborate Argentine dishes stopped, replaced by silent scrolling through LinkedIn, comparing herself to classmates now thriving, and David's attempts to bridge the gap with extra freelance work only left them drifting further apart, their first big fight erupting when she was rejected from her dream job at the Council on Foreign Relations, his modest promotion celebration met with her bitter words about his inadequacy. Marking the start of her emotional withdrawal, she began late-night outings, networking excuses, masking secretive calls and a new phone, while David, trusting by nature, tried to believe her stories, unaware that she was slipping into a double life. Then came Sheikh Abdul Zamani, a Dubai billionaire with an Oxford-Harvard education and a fortune built on oil, whose charm and wealth offered Immani a glimpse of the life she craved. Their first meeting at a university lecture series turning into hours of conversation about politics and culture. His invitation to Dubai planting a seed that grew with each gift, a book, rare orchids, an invitation to a private Met exhibition, pulling her deeper into a world of luxury that David could never match. That night at Daniel, a restaurant she'd only dreamed of, Sheikh's words about her wasted potential in New York hit home, and though she returned to David, her heart was already elsewhere. The contrast between her cramped queen's life and Sheikh's penthouse view becoming unbearable. David's suspicions grew as he found receipts for lavish dinners and noticed her new wardrobe, her smooth lies about networking dinners, and borrowed clothes barely holding while she mastered hiding her affair with a second phone and timed exits, her physical distance from him widening as their marriage crumbled. His career took off with a senior role offering financial hope, but Immani's disinterest signaled the end, and when she finally confessed her plan to leave with Sheikh, citing compatibility over love, David's world shattered, his sacrifices loans over time, dreams deemed worthless, setting the stage for a revenge that would turn lethal. In the months that followed, David's pain turned to planning, documenting her infidelity with photos and bank statements, taking out a $2 million insurance policy with a forged signature, his Midwestern trust replaced by a cold resolve to make her pay. The confrontation came in July 2023. Her announcement of departure met with his quiet rage, leading to a fateful meeting at a Queen's storage unit where, armed with a crowbar, he struck her down, dismembering her body with calculated precision, using plastic sheeting and a bone saw, wrapping the remains in her own silk gifts as a twisted irony, disposing half in the Hudson and half in an industrial furnace, believing he'd framed Sheikh perfectly. But the discovery of the body on October 15th by another jogger triggered a police investigation, the silk and bracelet leading to Sheikh, though his airtight alibi and their ended relationship shifted focus to David, whose purchase of the fabric and forged insurance unraveled his plan, leading to his arrest and confession with no remorse, claiming her betrayal justified his actions. The trial in 2024 painted him as a premeditated killer, earning a life sentence, while Sheikh honored Immani with a scholarship foundation, leaving a legacy of questions about love, sacrifice, and when heartbreak crosses into murder. Yet the story doesn't end here, because there's more to uncover, a hidden diary, perhaps, or a final clue that could change everything. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, was David a broken man or a monster? The journey continues. The discovery of Immani's body in the Hudson River sent shockwaves through New York. But the story was far from over, as the layers of this twisted tale began to peel back like the pages of an old secrets-filled book, revealing a depth of human emotion and desperation that few could fathom. Detective Sarah Kolinsky, a seasoned investigator with 22 years on the force, took the case, her sharp eyes catching the oddity of the silk wrapping and the diamond bracelet. Clues that screamed wealth but also hinted at a personal vendetta. And as she dug deeper, the name Immani Roswell surfaced, linked to a tabloid frenzy about her departure for Dubai, which had already painted a picture of a scorned husband and a glamorous escape. The media latched onto Sheikh Abdul Zamani as the villain, his billionaire status and foreign roots fueling a public outrage that saw protests outside the UAE consulate, with cable news spinning tales of immigrant crime. Though Kolinsky remained skeptical, her experience telling her that the silken bracelet felt too convenient, too deliberate, like a setup by someone closer to home. Meanwhile, David Roswell sat in their now empty Queen's apartment, the silence deafening after Immani's departure, his mind replaying every moment of their life together. The late nights he worked to pay her loans, the dreams he sacrificed, and the love he thought was mutual, now reduced to a bitter memory by her choice to chase luxury with Sheikh. His drinking escalated, beer in the morning turning to whiskey by night, a numbing ritual as he scrolled through Immani's Dubai social media posts, her radiant smiles with Sheikh at diplomatic events stabbing at his heart. Each photo a reminder that she was happier without him, that their marriage had been a mere stepping stone to her real life. This fueled his obsession, his initial plan for financial security, through the insurance policy morphing into a darker intent, a desire to not just survive her abandonment, but to punish her, to ensure she felt the pain he did. And so he began researching, watching forensic videos, buying tools online with a prepaid card, his methodical mind, honed by years of debugging code, now bent on crafting the perfect crime. The night of September 2023, became the turning point. When Immani, back in New York to tie up loose ends, received David's comm call, his voice masking the storm within, as he lured her to the storage unit with talk of financial settlements. Her unease ignored as she agreed, hoping to close this chapter quickly at 17 p.m. She arrived, parking her rental car beside his sedan, stepping into the dimly lit unit where David waited, his gaunt face and hardened eyes a stark contrast to the man she once knew, the air thick with tension as he closed the door, trapping them in a space filled with their past boxes of memories. Now a stage for tragedy. His words about the money he'd invested in her education turned to accusations, his rage building as she defended her choice to leave, the crowbar in his hand a silent threat. Until it wasn't, the first blow striking her head, her collapse marking the end of her life and the beginning of his descent. For 6 hours, he worked with chilling precision, cutting her body apart, wrapping the pieces in her own silk gifts, a macabre tribute to her betrayal, half weighted for the Hudson and half incinerated in his company's furnace, believing the evidence pointed to Sheikh, his plan a chess move to reclaim control. But the Hudson's currents betrayed him. The body found one. October 15, the triggering of forensic breakthrough, the silk traced to a New Jersey distributor, then to David's cash purchase at Bellissima Boutique, his face on security footage sealing his fate. Kolinsky's relentless pursuit unraveled his alibi, neighbors' reports of noises, and gas station footage of his car near the river adding to the pile, the forged insurance policy, the final nail, leading to his confession on October 25, his voice cold as he justified it as payback for her, the theft of his years. The trial in 2024 divided opinions, some sympathizing with his pain, others horrified by his brutality, the jury finding him guilty of first-degree murder after just 4 hours, his life sentence a quiet end to a loud rage, yet his lack of remorse in prison interviews. "I'm not sorry she's dead. Just sorry I got caught," left a lingering chill. Sheikh, cleared of blame, returned to Dubai, founding a scholarship in Immani's name. His words about her lost potential a bittersweet echo, while psychologists like Dr. Rebecca Martins labeled David's actions as narcissistic. Seeing her departure as a debt, he felt entitled to collect with violence. But the story doesn't stop here. Whispers of a hidden diary, perhaps tucked away in that storage unit, or a final phone call Immani made, hinting at her fears, could hold the key to a deeper truth, a clue that might explain why love turned so deadly. As the Hudson flows on, carrying the weight of this tale, the question remains: was David a victim of heartbreak pushed too far, or a monster waiting to strike? And what else lies buried in this dark chapter, waiting to be uncovered? So keep watching, like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think happened in those final moments? And should we dig deeper into this mystery that refuses to fade? The Hudson River's dark waters continue to whisper secrets long after Immani's body was found, by its currents carrying not just the remnants of that fateful morning, but the echoes of a love story turned into a nightmare. And as the city buzzed with the investigation, Detective Sarah Kolinsky found herself haunted by the case, her seasoned instincts telling her there was more to uncover beneath the surface of David's calculated confession. The silk fabric, so meticulously chosen, and the diamond bracelet, left as a taunting signature, suggested a mind at work that wasn't just driven by rage, but by a need to send a message. And though David sat in custody, his cold justification, "she stole my future," lingered in the air, prompting Kolinsky to dig into the storage unit where the murder unfolded, hoping to find something he might have missed in his haste to cover his tracks. There, amidst the dust, covered boxes and forgotten furniture, she stumbled upon a small leather-bound diary tucked beneath a pile of old clothes. its pages yellowed but filled with Immani's neat handwriting, a treasure trove of emotions that painted a different picture of her final days. Uncovering emails to a career counselor about leaving Dubai, reinforcing the diary's hint of regret, the Hudson's mystery grew. Baha'i with each clue pulling the story in new directions. The silk and bracelet now symbols of a love that could have been saved, and as 10:13 Immani PKT on. September 11, 2025, ticked by. The world waited for the next revelation. The diary and video fueling a narrative of hope, lost to violence. So stay with us, like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, could Immani's return have stopped this tragedy? Or was David's heart too far gone? The Hudson River's dark waters seemed to hold their breath as the world watched. By the clock ticking past 10:14 a.m. PKT on Thursday, September 11, 2025, a moment when the mystery of Immani Roswell's death reached its climax, with Detective Sarah Kolinsky standing in the precinct, the leather-bound diary in one hand and the recovered video file on her laptop screen, her heart heavy with the weight of what she'd uncovered. The diary's pages, filled with Immani's hurried scribbles, revealed her inner turmoil entries about her dazzling nights with Sheikh Abdul Zamani in Dubai, the lavish gifts and the diplomatic circle she craved. But also her late-night doubts, scribbled lines like "David's face haunts me, and I miss the simplicity we had," painting a woman torn between ambition and a love she couldn't let go, while the video, that shaky final recording from the storage unit, showed her pleading with David, her voice trembling. As she said, "I want to come back. Let's talk." Before the screen went black, a plea cut short by the crowbar's strike. A moment that silenced her forever. David, watching this in the interrogation room, broke down completely, his stoic facade crumbling as tears streamed down his gaunt face, his voice cracking as he whispered, "She was coming back. I didn't know." The realization hitting him like a tidal wave that his revenge had destroyed the very chance he'd longed for, turning his calculated plan into a tragic mistake. The courtroom, packed with reporters and onlookers, fell silent as this evidence was presented. The prosecution, re-evaluating their case, while David's defense pushed for a reduced sentence, arguing that the video and diary showed a man driven by a momentary lapse, not premeditated malice. Though his earlier actions, the insurance forgery, the silk purchase, still loomed large. Judge Patricia Morrison, her 30 years on the bench lending her a solemn authority, listened intently, her eyes reflecting the complexity of a case where love and hate had blurred into violence, and after days of deliberation, she delivered a revised verdict on September 20, 2025, sentencing David to 25 years with a chance for parole, acknowledging his breakdown but not excusing the act. Her words ringing out, "Mr. Roswell, your pain does not justify taking a life, but this court sees a man who lost himself to a delusion. May you find redemption in time." Outside, the public reaction was a mix of relief and debate. Ex-posts flooding with opinions, some calling it justice served, others mourning Immani's lost potential. Her family in Argentina releasing a tearful statement, "We forgive but will never forget," while Sheikh from Dubai doubled his scholarship fund in her name, his voice breaking in a rare interview. "Immani was my dream, but she was David's heart. Her death is our shared loss." The Hudson River, witness to it all, flowed on, its waters now a symbol of a love that could have been saved. The diary and video archived as evidence, but also as a testament to Immani's conflicted soul, her final words a haunting echo that changed the narrative from revenge to regret. Forensic teams closed their files, but the storage unit remained a ghostly relic, its shelves still holding faint traces of that night, while Kolinsky, retiring after this case, wrote a book titled The Hudson Confession, donating proceeds to Immani's scholarship, ensuring her legacy lived on. David, in Clinton Correctional Facility, spent his days reading that book, the diary's pages photocopied for him. Each line a reminder of what he'd lost. His letters to Immani's family seeking forgiveness, though unanswered, marking a slow path to healing. The world moved on, but this story lingered, taught in criminology classes as a case of love's double edge, with students debating was it passion or possession that drove David, and could Immani's return have rewritten the end? As the sun set over the Hudson on September 11, 2025, casting a golden reflection, it felt like a quiet goodbye to a tale of heartbreak, a reminder that love, when twisted by misunderstanding, can lead to the darkest of secrets. So this journey ends here, but its lessons stay. Subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done in David's place? And did Immani deserve a second chance? This is where the river's secret rests, a love turned lethal, now at peace.